Hello everyone. We will understand American structuralism from MEG 4 Aspects of Language from IGNOU. American structuralism developed in the United States in the early 20th century and focused on scientific description of language. It is also known as Bloomfieldian, Neo-Bloomfieldian, Post-Bloomfieldian, and sometimes as descriptive linguistics. The main aim of American structuralism was not to interpret meaning, but to describe language objectively through observations. Both European and American structuralism were different in their meaning of structure, and their interests also differed. European structuralists, especially those influenced by Ferdinand de Saussure, viewed structure as a network of relationships. According to them, language is a system in which each element derives its value from its relationship with other elements. For example, sheep, goat, cow. The meaning of each word becomes clear because it differs from the others. So thus in Europe, structure primarily referred to the relationship among elements within a linguistic system. Whereas American structuralists interpreted structure somewhat differently. For them, structure referred mainly to the distribution of elements within a linguistic system or a language. For example, the boy. The word the occurs before nouns. Its position or distribution helps us identify its grammatical function. The United States was home to numerous American Indian tribes, each having their own language. Many of these languages had no written tradition, were little known to scholars, were in danger of disappearing. So the American linguists were interested in studying these languages, unlike European scholars who were interested in ancient languages and development of modern languages from them took place in European structuralism. The American structural linguists tended to write the grammar of languages of Amerindian tribes such as Menominee, Hopi, and Takelma. American structuralism developed through the work of three important scholars, Boas, Edward Safire, and Leonard Bloomfield. Boas studied Native American language. Edward Safire, following the methods of his teacher Boas, started analyzing languages of Amerindian tribes. In addition to grammatical analysis, he took into account the humanistic and cultural aspects of language. He considered language as universal. Language, according to him, was communicative and social activity. His approach was more mentalistic as opposed to the mechanistic or behavioristic approach of Bloomfield. Leonardo Bloomfield is considered the most influential figure in American structuralism. He was influenced by behavioristic psychology, which explains that human actions are predictable and is according to the situations. He had given basic ideas of behaviorism in his book Language, which was published in 1933. In this book, he gave concept of language which is based on stimulus-response schema. He explained this by means of his famous story of Jack and Jill walking down the lane. Jill sees an apple. She is hungry and wants it, but she wants Jack to get her the apple. She makes a noise with her larynx, tongue, and lips. Jack hears her request, climbs the tree to get the apple. Here, Jill's feeling of hunger is stimulus. If Jill gets the apple herself, then stimulus would have directly caused the response. Instead, there is a substitute response in the form of verbal movement. That is, she asks Jack to do it. So this is stimulus response scheme. Now, since main concern of Bloomfield's was to develop linguistics into science, it could be only possible by exclusion of psychology from linguistics and focusing on mechanistic approach. So American linguists wanted to analyze language through distributions of sound segments and combinations of these sounds without regard to meaning. Based on these observations, they identified three important types of distributional relations. That is complementary distribution, contrastive distribution, and free variation. Complementary distribution, which says that sounds never occur in the same environment. Wherever one sound appears, the other cannot appear. For example, in English, the sound P in the word pin is pronounced with a strong puff of air, that is aspirated. Linguists write it as PH, but in the word spin, the same P is pronounced without the puff of air, that is written as P. PH occurs at the beginning of words like pin, and P occurs elsewhere as in the word spin. They never appear in the same position. Therefore, they are called complementary distribution. Here, PH and P are allophones of phoneme P. This even applies to morphemes as well. For example, if we take use of S in plural morpheme, it has three forms depending on the environment of its occurrence. In the morpheme S is realized as S if it's preceded by a voiceless sound, as in caps, rats, books. Since P, T and K are voiceless sounds, and when S is added to these voiceless sounds, we pronounce it as caps, rats, books, and it is realized as Z if it is preceded by a voiced sound like cubs, lids, dogs. So again, the same sound is realized as IZ if it is preceded by another type of sounds like as in prizes, voices, isn't it? So this is complementary distribution. Now let's come to contrastive distribution, where a change, this we already know, where a change in one sound produces a change in meaning. For example, pat contrasts with bat. So these sounds are separate phonemes. This is called contrastive distribution. Like pat, pat, mat, different phonemes, different meanings. And the last one is free variation. In free variation, two forms can occur in the same environment without changing the meaning. For example, the word either, E-I-T-H-E-R, can be pronounced as either or either. Like the I can be pronounced like E or AI, either. However it is pronounced, the change in the first sound does not lead to the change in the meaning, isn't it? So because of these distributional relations, American structuralism has been given the name distributionalism. Next, we will come to the substitution method. The distribution of linguistic units was tested by the method of substitution. For example, in the sentence, John loves bananas. John can be substituted by any noun, but it should be noun. Okay. Now, these American structuralists emphasized on discovery procedure for arriving at a proper grammar. Like this discovery procedure is where the corpus of data was analyzed to produce an appropriate grammar. The corpus of data was analyzed through linguistic theory to bring a proper grammar. So, American linguists were to discover a grammar by performing a set of operations on corpus of data at the level of phonemes, morphemes, syntax and discourse as well. Bloomfieldian's most important contribution to the theory of syntax has been IC analysis, or immediate constituent analysis, where in order to discover the structure of linguistic units, one divides the utterance into two parts, which are in turn divided into two parts, and etc., until one arrives at minimal elements which can no longer be divided. So, American structuralism has several important characteristics: scientific, objective, descriptive. It relies heavily on observable data and systematic analysis. However, it received criticism. Many scholars argued that it ignored meaning, treated language as a mechanical system, and could not fully explain human creativity in language. These limitations eventually led to newer linguistic theories. So thank you for watching this video. If this explanation helped you understand American structuralism from MEG 4, please like the video, share it and subscribe to the channel for more IGNOU English literature and linguistic topics. Thank you.